In the forgotten reaches of the kingdom of Kadrith, where the sun shied away from the earth and the trees grew too close together to allow even whispers of wind, there lay a forest untouched by time. The locals called it the Hollow Grove, though few could remember why. Even fewer dared speak of it aloud, for it was said the grove had a memory of its own, and it did not forgive. The story begins with a girl named Isra, a novice hedge witch with wild copper curls and a defiant curiosity. She came from the village of Thimblecross, where magic was used for healing, fertility, and warding off nightmares. Isra, however, longed for more than candle charms and moon water. She dreamt of the old magic, the kind that made trees walk, blood sing, and shadows bend. Her dreams led her to the edge of Hollow Grove, drawn by the ancient pull that whispered promises in forgotten tongues. Locals warned her with pale faces and trembling hands, but Isra, foolish and bold, entered the woods just after the blood moon reached its peak. Inside, the forest was a cathedral of rot and silence. Trees grew tall and twisted, their bark like flayed flesh and their roots gnarled into shapes resembling the curled fingers of the dead. The leaves were black and slick, reflecting no light, and the air carried a scent that was not decay, but memory, like the breath of a coffin opened after centuries. Isra followed a narrow path of silver mushrooms that pulsed faintly with each step, leading her to a clearing unlike anything she had read of or dreamed. In the center stood a well, ancient and dry, wrapped in chains of ivy that wept black sap. Runes covered its rim, flickering like dying embers in her peripheral vision. It was known as the mouth of the grove. The forest spoke to her then, not in words, but in memories that weren't hers. She saw a coven drowned in the well one by one, their bodies devoured by vines before they could scream. She saw kings once crowned with thorns, swallowed whole by the earth. And she saw herself falling into that well, her eyes gone white, mouth filled with roots. But she didn't turn away.
She whispered her name to the runes.
Not just her name, her true name, the one only the stars and her mother knew. The grove responded. A low groan rippled through the soil as the trees around her moved. Not swayed, but shifted, like beasts waking from slumber. Their bark peeled open like eyelids, revealing eyes, thousands of them, each one weeping shadow. The roots beneath her feet pulsed with veins of blood. The well cracked open wider. Something crawled out. It had no fixed form. One moment, it resembled a child with too many joints, its skin a canvas of shifting faces. The next, it was a towering antlered shape with a mouth that reached from shoulder to hip. It smelled of petrichor and grave dust. Its voice was wind through bone chimes. "You have given your name," it said, each word echoing from every tree. "What do you seek?" "Power," Isra whispered. "The kind that makes kingdoms fall silent." "Then drink," it said, and from the well rose a black liquid thick as oil, glittering faintly with stars that moved like insects. Isra drank. The scream she released was not hers. It belonged to every soul buried beneath the grove, every sacrifice made to feed the ancient god that slumbered in its roots. The forest wrapped itself around her, bleeding into her flesh, her bones, her breath. Her eyes turned black, her voice vanished, and her name became a secret again, this time to herself. When she emerged from Hollow Grove, weeks later by village reckoning, though no time had passed in her bones, Isra was no longer Isra. She was the Hollow Queen, and behind her the forest walked. Thimblecross vanished that night, no fire, no blood, just silence, the kind that falls over a place when even the ghosts are too afraid to linger. Now, on cold nights when the moon hides her face, travelers speak of a grove that grows where no map says it should, trees that whisper in voices you almost remember, and a woman with copper hair streaked black like ink in water, whose eyes are empty, but weep for you long before you realize you're lost. Because once you step into the Hollow Grove, you were always meant to.